Okay, I think we're ready to get started. Thank you everyone for your patience. Very much appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us today for the Jasperactive Digital Literacy Webinar. This is a brand new product from CCI. We're very excited to share it with you, and we're honored that we have such an amazing international audience today. I've been watching the chat, and I see we have people from Nigeria, from all over the US, Canada, South Africa, the Isle of Man. I saw. It's pretty cool. We don't get the opportunity often to speak to such a wide, broad international audience in presentations like this. So I thank you very much for taking the time to be here to learn all about Jasperactive. Some of you may be familiar with Jasperactive for Microsoft Office. The brand new product that we're here to talk about today is Jasperactive Digital Literacy. And I think that it's a fantastic product for an international audience. This is something that can be used anywhere in the world, and we're excited to share it with you. So just quickly, I will cover our planned agenda for the day. So we're going to start out with a few minutes of quick introductions. Then we'll learn a little bit about the product itself, Jasperactive Digital Literacy, why we made the decisions we did in development, how it addresses your learners' needs, and many of the exciting different features and benefits of the product. Then we'll go into a deep dive. So I'll actually log in and I'll show you how it works. I'll show you some of the learning material, some of the assessments that are built into it. And then I'm also going to show you how you can start today with access to your free lesson. From there, we're going to have a question and answer period. So feel free to ask questions at the end, or if you'd like, you can also use the chat feature in Teams to ask some questions there. So just before we get started, just a couple of quick housekeeping notes, and I think the team on the call is helping to take care of this as well, but we ask that you please do mute your microphones unless you'd like to ask a question. Then of course you can unmute to ask that question. This will be moderated by some of the team members here at CCI, so we have quite a few people from CCI Learning on the call who will help to monitor and just make sure that there's no background noise or anything like that happening. Please do feel free to use the Teams chat feature. You can ask questions there, you can make comments. We have several people on the call today who will be able to assist you. And feel free to also keep your webcam on. You know, the world is in a very interesting state right now, obviously due to COVID-19, and so it's quite refreshing to be able to see people's faces, and I encourage you to keep your webcam on if you like. So I'd like to just quickly talk about CCI Learning as an organization. Many of you on the call may already be familiar with who we are, but if not, I want to give you just a little bit of background before we dive into Jasperactive. So first and foremost, we're a Canadian company. We do, of course, business on an international scale. We're a global organization. We're headquartered in Langley, British Columbia, Canada, which is about 30 minutes outside of Vancouver. And we've been in business for about 30 years. We started originally as a courseware publisher, publishing traditional textbooks for the classroom for products like Microsoft Office. And in the last 15 years or so, we partnered with an organization called Certiport to help bring their industry certifications from vendors like Microsoft, Adobe into the classroom. So we've been doing that for a very long time. We're very familiar with micro-credentials and industry certification. And, you know, honestly, we're just kind of a bunch of cool people who are excited and passionate about technology. We decided a couple of years ago to get into the software development world, and that's what you see with Jasperactive. That initially began with a product for Microsoft Office, that's Jasperactive Microsoft Office, and it has since moved into our brand new product, Jasperactive Digital Literacy. Long term, we'll be creating many products within the Jasperactive environment, and Jasperactive will sort of become the umbrella term for all of the different products that we have available within it. I'd like to just take a quick moment to talk about our belief system. So our mantra at CCI Learning is that every lifetime deserves to be maximized, and we truly apply this to everything that we do. We want learners to be able to work hard and ultimately reach their potential. And we think that every student, no matter what their background, deserves an equal chance to succeed. no matter their learning style as well. We know that people learn differently, and we want to be able to address those challenges. So with that in mind, we work with educators to help inspire excitement in the classroom through hands-on learning. We know that we've had some challenges with remote learning, of course, due to the circumstances around the world. And so we want to be able to keep students engaged in a remote environment as well. And ultimately, we believe that empowering students with future-ready skills is of the utmost importance. So how do we help students maximize their learning experience and prepare them for their careers or for post-secondary education, or if they're already in college, moving into the workforce? These are questions that we're asking all the time, and we believe that learning has to be engaging in order to keep students happy, excited, and passionate about their learning. So I'll take a quick moment to also just introduce the team on the call today. Now, I actually think that just from looking through all of the attendees here, we actually have quite a large number of people from CCI on the call. I'm highlighting a few of them here, sort of our team members that are here to support you during the presentation. So first and foremost, my name's Curtis Steeksma. I'm the North American Academic Sales Manager at CCI Learning, and I'll be your MC for today. We also have Vanessa Knox, our president and COO. And Vanessa, if you want to say hi and just wave so you pop up on people's screens, that's great.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody.
Thank you. We also have Dan Sweeney, who is the Director of IT at CCI Learning.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
We have Catherine Jones, who's our Customer Success Manager.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
We have Dave Watson, Regional Account Manager for Canada West.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
We have Lexi Wynn, who is our Sales and Marketing Coordinator.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.
And we have Uzair Khan, who is our Marketing Manager.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Like I said, I think we have quite a few other members of the team on the call today. I can see Keith, I can see Luis. There's quite a few of us here to help you guys. So please do feel free to use that chat feature as questions and comments come up.
Excellent, Curtis. I'm just going to ask quickly for Luis to put his camera on and introduce himself. Luis is our product manager for Jasperactive and has been 24/7 engaged in this product since its inception to launch. So he needs to wave and stick his camera on and say hello.
I'm here. Hello.
He's being shy. All right, well, thank you for that, Vanessa. That's perfect. So today we're here to talk about Jasperactive Digital Literacy. We are so excited about this product. As Vanessa said, we have been working very, very hard on it for quite some time. And we're so excited about the launch that just happened about a week and a half ago on June 3rd. We're very excited to bring this to an international audience and share with you how exciting this product is and how accessible it is for everybody. So I'd like to first just set the stage by defining what digital literacy is. This is a definition that is according to UNESCO, defined in June 2018. So digital literacy is the ability to access, manage, understand, integrate, communicate, evaluate, and create information safely and appropriately through digital devices and network technologies for participation in economic and social life. It includes competences that are variously referred to as computer literacy, ICT literacy, information literacy, and media literacy. So a bit of a mouthful, there's a lot there, but we've kept all of this in mind when defining and creating Jasperactive Digital Literacy. I'd like to take a quick look at how we define digital literacy in 2010, so 10 years ago versus today. In 2010, it was all about what we call the digital divide. And that was perceived as a problem to be access to broad technology and ultimately engaging learners with learning material that they were excited about. You know, how do we keep them interested? How do we keep them passionate about this? And it wasn't until some time later that we discovered the digital divide would actually be about a digital skills gap. So we had digital natives, for example, that is young people growing up with technology who, you know, were able to use Snapchat and use Instagram and understand hashtags and all of those kinds of things. but in a lot of cases, they didn't understand the very basics of something like file management. Obviously, the landscape has changed significantly in the last 10 years. Technology is growing at an exponential rate, as we know. Young adults are growing up with access to technology. It's broadly accessible for most people these days. And so digital literacy is really an expectation now. Whether you're going into the workforce or you're still in your academic studies, it's expected that you know how to use a computer on a fundamental level. And so that's very specifically why we developed this product, because we want to bring everybody up to the same benchmark. We want to get everybody on a global scale to the same level. We want to increase digital skills across the globe. It's really now about not only taking that knowledge that you have, but finding a way to critically apply it in the moment. It's all about higher order thinking, which means being able to critique, analyze, judge, and seek information. So let's talk a little bit about the digital inequality that we see today. Well, as I already mentioned, we know the rate of technology change is absolutely exponential. It's growing, it seems like every minute, every hour of the day. There are new technologies that are being released that we all have to learn and understand and adapt to. There are new types of cyber crimes and new threats to safety. This is a big one. I'm not sure if you know this, but cybersecurity will cost the world $6 trillion annually by 2021. That's only next year. So we know this. I mean, I'm sure you've all received phishing emails and seen the email scams that come through and all those kinds of things. We've actually seen a lot of it happen here in Canada through COVID-19. Some of the initiatives the government have been offering some financial compensation to help people. We've seen a lot of phishing scams happen around that, or around taxes, these kinds of things. So it's important to be able to get everybody up to a certain level so that they can identify and prevent those threats or those cybersecurity threats from affecting them. We also have an aging population. So we have people that maybe haven't grown up with technology, aren't really used to having sort of these fundamental benchmark skills, and now they maybe are seeking new employment, or perhaps they're looking to just be able to get a computer at home so they can stay in touch with their family, again, particularly through these challenging times where everybody isn't as face to face as often, for example. Youth unemployment is growing. And this is a big one too here. Employers need people with multiple and diverse skill sets. I know, CCI Learning is a small business. I know I wear multiple hats here, as do all of the employees at CCI Learning. And I think that there's an expectation when you enter the workforce that you'll be able to expand your skill set quickly when it comes to using different software applications, for example. So even if you get hired for job X, chances are you're going to have to use multiple pieces of software throughout your career. And so people need to be adaptable and have sort of the fundamental skills in order to quickly change and learn new products. And I think that having that digital literacy skill set in place is a great way to achieve that. I want to share a fun little anecdote that happened, or that I heard yesterday. So I happened to upgrade my cell phone yesterday. I needed a new phone, and so I used a service in order to get that done. And this company that I work through is doing a home delivery service. So you upgrade your device, and they come to your home and deliver the new phone, and they help you set it up if need be. And so this very nice guy came to my house and dropped the phone off, and I got into a conversation with him just about technology, and he shared a really funny story with me. So he has a friend whose grandma had decided that she wanted to, just for her own benefit, gain some technology skills. So she, had barely used computers, wasn't really familiar with technology in general. So she wanted to actually enroll in an academic course at an institution here in BC in order to gain that skill set. And so she'd heard the term coding a lot, right? And so she thought, okay, well, maybe I want to learn how to do coding. So, and she's an older lady. She enrolled in a senior coding program at an academic institution here. Now, for those of us who are in the technology space, we know that senior coding typically means advanced coding. But because she didn't have, a fundamental baseline understanding, she took that as coding for seniors. So needless to say, when she joined this course, she was quite overwhelmed and realized that she needed some more foundational training. So of course I gave this gentleman my card and said, hey, we have Jasperactive Digital Literacy. Give this to your friend's grandma. We'd be happy to help. So just a fun little story I encountered the other day. One of the most exciting features about Jasperactive Digital Literacy is that it is completely online. So it can be accessed anytime, anywhere, on any device. It's completely browser-based, so there's no hardware restrictions or requirements. As long as you have an internet connection, you can access Jasperactive Digital Literacy. And of course, you can continue your work anywhere. When I say any device, that includes mobile devices. Certainly, we have developed Jasperactive for a mobile audience because we know that people want to be able to learn in many different environments, and perhaps they don't always want to have their laptop or their computer in front of them. So maybe they're on the bus and they want to log on their phone and continue their learning from the previous evening. They can absolutely do that. This is very, very exciting for us. Teachers can also access the back end of Jasperactive Digital Literacy anywhere, anytime, and on any device. This is particularly important, of course, due to the remote learning environments that we've seen in the last couple of months. The academic world has changed dramatically, and we've all had to run very quickly to innovate and adapt to those challenges. I have conversations all the time with our partners that are looking for remote solutions because they don't know what the future looks like. They don't know if in the fall they'll be back in a physical classroom or if they'll be in a hybrid environment or continuing in a remote environment for the foreseeable future. So everything, I believe, is sort of moving this way, and we're very, very excited to be able to meet those challenges and provide a resource that allows equity for everyone. As long as they have a device, even including a phone, they can access this learning. With that, I'd like to pass it over to Vanessa Knox, our president and COO, to discuss some of the instructional design methodology that went into Jasperactive Digital Literacy.
Thanks, Curtis. Just before I start, I just want to let you know, probably like 90% of the people on our webinar this morning, I too am working from home, and it has decided to torrentially downpour outside. So my apologies in advance if you start hearing a lot of rain. Thank you so much for everybody for joining us today. I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes explaining the why behind the instructional design methodology that we've chosen for this platform. From our perspective, and I think everyone on the call here would agree, that when you need to or want to learn something, when the content that you're learning has meaning and is relevant and is engaging, that's when the learning will occur. And so when we devised this new instructional design framework, we engaged with a globally recognized subject matter expert, Claudia Lemon, and her team, to really understand the value behind building learning that matters, learning that is relevant to our world, much of it relevant to our new world, and making sure that everything that is put together from a concept perspective is backed up by an engaging and real world scenario. Let me give you a couple of examples. It's important to know how to do something, but it is equally as important to understand why and when. For example, posting something. You want to make sure that you protect your personal and your professional identity online. And so understanding what to post and in what social media platform to post it is important, and when not to post. So these are some of the exciting and engaging exercises that you're going to see when you start to go into the platform, and really forms the basis of the way that we've designed the instructional design framework. So the methodology is a benchmark assessment, which is a pre-assessment done at the beginning and the outset of the learning, and that forms the basis that provides the learner, whether they be a grade 7 or 8 student whether they be workforce development. Regardless of that, it will define what they know, and it will allow them then to engage in the platform with a baseline of skills that they have. We've delivered the lessons through project-based applications with multiple levels of complexity. So what that does is it builds on the learner's knowledge. The case studies are absolutely based on real-world environments and real-world cases, which engage the learner. So they provide relevant, meaningful content. All of the content is augmented with what we call quick deck hints, which provide the learner with guidance and immediate feedback that provides instant learning and immediate learning moments. And all of it is reinforced with reinforced questions, which then ensure that the comprehension of the skills that were being taught have been learned. At the end, we have a practice test in collaboration with our partners at Geometrics. And all of this is augmented with a full and separate learning library with additional resources. So we have additional quick decks showing key terms and definitions, as well as a full ebook. One of the other components that's important to understand is that with all of this certification for the IC3 program is mapped. So if you are going on to do the certification, you can be confident that all of the objectives have been covered. And one other key point for those on the call that understand as Certiport is releasing new certification, we have already identified that this program maps to about 95% of what is required. And so with a couple of tweaks, we'll be up whether you're doing the GS5 certification or the new and soon to be released GS6 certification. This is going to map to all of it. And with that, I'll pass it back to Curtis.
Thanks very much, Vanessa. So yeah, a couple of key takeaways there just on the last piece. So Jasperactive Digital Literacy is aligned to Certiport's IC3 Digital Literacy Certification. That, of course, is a global certification and benchmarking in digital literacy skills, bringing everybody up to a global standard. There are 3 modules contained within that program, and you'll see it reflected in Jasperactive Digital Literacy. So there's computing fundamentals, and that takes a look at basic operating system functionality, things like file management, as well as some hardware and identifying different pieces of hardware and their purpose. Key applications, which is an introductory look to look at word processing, spreadsheets, and presentations. And then Living Online, which takes a look at things like social media. It takes a look at Outlook and email. It also takes a look at internet browsers, some light networking. And together, these areas provide sort of a baseline and foundational level of technology skills. So we see Jasperactive Digital Literacy really accessible to everyone. These are some of the different groups that we've identified. Schools, of course, in an academic environment, this is fantastic for everything from elementary school and younger ages all the way up through to post-secondary education, college and university. These are skills that every student needs. Every individual entering the workforce needs to have these. And we like the idea of starting younger because, you know, individuals are growing up with technology. They have access to these tools. So let's teach them, like Vanessa said, things about, you know, if we're talking social media, what's appropriate to post and when. These are the types of essential skills that we want to be able to give young people, as the understanding of not only can I use these tools, but how do I use them critically? We see a great benefit here to organizations, corporations, and for workforce development. So in the corporate space, of course, we want to make sure that all of our employees have a certain level of technology skills. And again, through COVID-19, we've seen that organizations like CCI Learning and many others have had to transition to an online environment. And in order to do that, you're using tools like Teams or Zoom or many of the other different applications that are available. And if you don't have a fundamental level of skills, you're going to struggle. And I've heard that from many of the people that I've spoken with, is that there are sort of always some that get it right away and know how to use it. And then there are others that need a little bit of extra assistance. So we see a great application of this product there. Same for workforce development. So for those that are looking to reskill or develop new skills to seek new job opportunities, this is a great way for somebody who perhaps hasn't been exposed to technology growing up, and they've worked in a career where they haven't necessarily had to use it. This is a great product to help aid them and give them a foundational level of skills so that they can seek different types of employment in different career paths. And I gave the kind of funny anecdote there about seniors, but I think that this is a great way for seniors to be able to have access to some of these tools. Not all of them have been exposed to them before. If they have, they're still sort of learning the ropes a little bit. And I think it's a great way for these individuals to stay connected with their family, stay connected with their friends. And so we see a lot of benefit for the senior audience as well. Okay, so I think we've covered the fundamentals of what Jasperactive Digital Literacy is and why we developed it and why we developed it the way we did. So I'd love to just jump in now and show you what it looks like. So I'm just going to open up my web browser and start sharing that here, and then we'll get started. All right, so everybody should be able to see my screen here. This is the Jasperactive Digital Literacy site. The URL for that is just app.jasperactive.com. Now what I'm going to do is log into a demo account that I've created and just show you some of the different pieces that we've discussed, the benchmark, the learning material. And once I show you all of that, a little bit later, I will walk you through how to actually create your own account to access the free lesson that we're providing for you. So first, I'm going to just log into my account here. You'll notice as well that you have the ability to log in with a Google account, a Microsoft account, a Facebook account. So we can sync up with that so that you can use those credentials if you'd like to log into Jasperactive Digital Literacy. So these are the different study groups that I'm a part of. As a student or an administrator, you can be associated to more than one site or study group that, for example, could be different classes. So your class A, your class B, your class C, you could be associated to each of those. I'm going to go in as a student here and show you what one of the test groups looks like. So I mentioned that you've got your Living Online, Computing Fundamentals, and Key Applications. Those are the three sections or areas. And let's go ahead and take a look at one of them looks like. I'll look at Computing Fundamentals here. So one of the cool things about Jasperactive Digital Literacy is that you can actually access content in any order. So you can see all of the lessons are broken down here. So lesson 1, mobile devices, lesson 2, hardware devices, et cetera, et cetera. 7 lessons here in Computing Fundamentals. So technically, once I've completed the benchmark assessments, I could go into any of these lessons and access the learning content in any order. The lessons are designed to be able to be used separately and apart from one another. So let's take a look at the benchmark assessment. That's the first thing we're going to do here. You see there's 2 different levels, same with all of the study projects for each lesson. So let's begin with the level 1 benchmark. So the purpose of the benchmark exam is to assess your skills up front. We know that people come into this with a broad spectrum of skills or experience. So we want to be able to determine upfront what somebody knows and, more importantly, what they don't know, so that we can appropriately prescribe their learning to them. And also they can reflect on that and see, okay, these are the areas I'm comfortable with. That makes sense. This is where I perhaps need to improve. So a lot of these questions will be multiple choice or scenario-based questions. So let's just go through a couple of them here. So the first one, what is the main function of a cell phone SIM card? And here are 4 options. I'm going to choose C. And we'll click next question. Perfect. So again, we don't get to find out right away if we answered this correctly or incorrectly. We find out at the end. So I won't go through all of these, but you can see we've got a 50-minute timer here. We have 31 questions. We're on question 2 of 31. And if somebody does not complete this within that 50-minute timer, it will automatically just submit and provide them with their results. So let's go ahead and just skip through all of the questions. So upon completion, it will take me to my general review, just saying, you know, here are some questions you didn't answer. Here are some ones that you skipped, things like that. Here are the ones that you answered. And when I'm ready, I click submit. So now you can see it immediately gives me my results. So here's the first one, which I answered correctly. And then it shows you all the other questions. And it gives you feedback on your results. So if I had answered this question incorrectly, it would say review the following topic for form file compression and extraction. So now I could go into the learning content and review that topic specifically for this question. What I love about this is that because it's instant, if there's something that you know, you're working on in, let's say it's a multiple choice question in the benchmark exam, and you feel like it could be one of two answers. You've narrowed it down to two potential answers, and you end up choosing the wrong one. This allows you to immediately see that, identify it, and then go into the learning material to make sure that you're fully comfortable with that particular topic. So when I'm finished here, I simply click done, tells me that my assessment is completed, and now I can go to my lesson plan. So now you'll see the screen has changed. I have a green check mark there indicating that I've completed the benchmark. And now the study projects, the level 1 of all of the study projects have opened for me in each lesson. So mobile devices, hardware devices, I could go into each study project for each lesson. Or if I wanted to, I could go back and do the second benchmark assessment. Of course, you can do both at once as well by doing the full benchmark assessment here that says all levels. Let's take a look at the learning library. So I'm going to click on library, and there's a couple of different resources in here. So first and foremost, I told you at the top of the presentation that we're a courseware publisher at CCI Learning. We develop our own in-classroom textbook material. We've taken that material that we developed for the IC3 certification and we've embedded it directly into Jasperactive Digital Literacy in the form of an ebook. So all of these lessons actually come from our traditional book-based material. So let's look at lesson 1. In level 1, the key elements to select the right cell phone will be reviewed, and in level 2, the focus is on the tablet's advantages for an online business and the main limitations with Wi-Fi connections. Great, let's read the lesson. So again, this is an extraction from our book. So you can see the first topic here is mobile devices, but we can navigate to each of these different sections. So we don't have to look through, you know, 27 pages necessarily if there was one specific topic we wanted to look at. But we can as well, so we can skip through individual pages. You can see there's full screenshots here. It's comprehensive and explains these skills step by step. I like the idea that you can sort of navigate through each of the individual topics just by using this navigation bar here. So let's go back to the learning library. One of the other great pieces that we've implemented is our quick decks. Vanessa alluded to this as well. So this is more of a, think of it like a pop quiz, right? So in this case, you can see password management. So that's the question we're looking at for this particular quick deck. If I click this, it's now going to give me the definition. So you can use this as a little bit of a test for yourself or for your students, or even your students can use this with their peers, right? They can say, okay, define password management for me, and then their peer would have to answer the question. They can check the definition here. So these are some quick ways to ensure that you understand the definition for all of these terms or their purpose. All of the questions are included down here. You can see there's screenshots on a lot of these as well. And so what I would recommend using these as is sort of a post-assessment. So you've gone through the learning material, you've gone through the benchmark, maybe at this point you've also gone through the study project, and you just want to do kind of a quick reference to see if you understand the definition for these terms. I would say that QuickDecks is a great resource for that. They're also embedded into the study project as well, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's go ahead and start study project 1 for mobile devices. So first, it gives us a project abstract. It tells us, here's what we're going to be looking at in this particular lesson and exercise. So the introduction says, do you need a smartphone? Maybe it's your first phone, or your contract is up for renewal. That's what happened to me recently. Or maybe your phone has had an accident. A key element to consider in selecting the right cell phone for you is to identify which operating system you want. You can make this decision according to your interests, your experience, and price or compatibility. Each operating system has a variety of models and brands in which you can select the best cell phone. So, obviously there's many different types of cell phones out there. I think this is a great one for seniors, for example. Certainly I've spoken with some older customers or some people in my social circle who have asked me, what do you think is the best phone? Well, here's a great way for them to identify what they think would be best, because of course that answer is subjective. So here are some of the key elements that are introduced in this study project. So let's click continue. So now we need to choose the correct answer. It's the first time you will buy a smartphone. You don't know anything about operating systems. However, you're very clear that your needs include the following: the possibility of expansion or increased memory capacity to store images and videos, excellent multimedia resources such as the camera and video, screen of at least 5 inches, unlimited ability to send all kinds of messages, video, text, audio to social networks at any time, and local and international use. So which of the following plans meet your needs? So it gives us some different definitions here and lets us choose. So we can go ahead and choose one answer. It's going to check our answer for us when we submit. And if we're correct, it'll tell us right away. It says, okay, great work. You've identified the correct answer. Now, if I were to choose an incorrect answer and click check. Oh, I got one right there. Let's go through and see how many I can get randomly. There we go. So I answered this particular question incorrectly. It says you're almost there, but here's a hint. So it's kind of a graduated assist, right? So now it's going to give me a little bit of a hint until I can get to the right answer. If I answer incorrectly again, it will tell me, okay, you're incorrect. Here's the correct answer, and it will give that to me. You probably also saw that it allowed me at that point to access the quick deck. So let's see if I can get another one here. So some of them, not all of them, but some of them will show you a quick deck reference. Let's see. There we go. So this quick deck may help you. So in this particular question, if I answer something incorrectly, I hit view quick deck, and it's going to pull that right up for me in a separate screen. So now I can click here, see the definition. Okay, that makes sense to me. Now I can exit out of this and then try my answer again. So it's a graduated assist where if the student doesn't answer correctly the first time, we're now showing them the kind of quick hints or information to help them ultimately get to the answer. This is a really accessible way for people to be able to learn in the moment, particularly those that don't have high digital skills already. It's a great way for them to immediately identify, okay, I answered incorrectly. Here's a definition of the correct term, or something that will give me a hint to go in the right direction that will ultimately allow them to answer with the right selection. So that's the study project. I'm going to close out of this here. And of course, had I progressed through the entire thing, it would now show up with a check mark at the end indicating that I had done that correctly, and then I could move on to lesson 2. In a lot of the study projects, you'll see video and audio as well. And when I show you the free lesson, we'll be able to really highlight that. So there's multiple different styles of learning. We know that, and we want to be able to engage each learner and meet them where they are in terms of their needs. So there are many different learning styles built into Jasperactive Digital Literacy. Again, video and audio is one of them. Our ebooks is another. Those quick decks with those instant definitions is another. And of course, the assessment's built in as well. So this is what the learning process looks like for the student. They would continue this for lesson 1 and lesson 2, etc. Or of course, they could also go straight into the second study project. So if I had completed study project 1 here for lesson 1, I could now make a decision, okay, do I want to move into the second study project and continue to reinforce these ideas? Or do I want to take a break from mobile devices, come back to it, and in the meantime, I want to explore how to back up and restore in lesson 4? It's completely up to you, either as the instructor, the guidance that you give your student, or the student themselves. If they decide they want to do it in a slightly different order, certainly they can. So that's the student side. I also want to show you just very briefly the instructor piece as well. So as an instructor, you can go in and see, of course, the student courses. You can take them yourselves. but you can also create groups, add study groups, and adjust the people within those groups. So you'll see this one test group that I'm looking at here. I can see who is the instructor, it's just me. And for any students that join, I'll be able to see this here as well. So the way it works is you create a study group. A group code is automatically generated for you, which you can copy directly to your clipboard and then assign to your students. They register at the Jasperactive Digital Literacy site. They enter their study group code either during the registration or after they've registered. They're given both options. And then they automatically enroll into your study group. They automatically get the courses and projects you've assigned to them, and they'll show up here in your student list as well. You can also adjust the settings for your study group. So when you create one, you can decide, okay, how many people do I want to be able to access this? You might want to limit it. It's up to you. Of course, those would be of working within the restrictions of your license as well. You can set your expiration date, how many members you would like for this particular group, which applications you'd like it to be for. You can, if you want, you could choose just living online, for example, completely up to you. And you can also choose the start date, end date, or you have the option to delete if you'd like. So to create a new study group, all you have to do is just click the add button here in the upper right hand corner, and you can either choose to join or study. So for your students, they would click join study group, they would enter the study group code you've given them, and then they would automatically be enrolled in the learning material I just showed you. In this case, I'm going to click create study group. I can name my study group now, so let's say test 50. Select my active license, and then this screen I just showed you, you can change the different parameters for your study group. So all your student would have to do is just take that code once the group's created, apply it during their registration or after they register, and they'll automatically be enrolled in your study group. So that's a learning experience for the student and a little bit of the teacher backend. Again, this can be done on any device. So if you were to, after this meeting, pull up your phone and register online through your phone, you can access learning the exact same way. You can swipe and do all that kind of stuff while you're going through the quick text. It's really cool, a really exciting solution. And as I said, all of you have access to a free lesson. So I really strongly encourage you to go in following this meeting, register your Jasperactive Digital Literacy account and access that free lesson, because it's a great way to see all of the different pieces that are available. So let's walk through what that would actually look like for you. So the first thing I'm going to do here is share a quick video with you guys that explains how we can get started.
All right, so we are going to go through how to get started with Jasperactive Digital Literacy. First, you are going to head to app.jasperactive.com. Once you have done so, you will see a field that says New User, Register Here. You will click Register Here to begin the registration process. Then, the program is going to bring you to a screen asking you if you are a learner/student or educator/instructor. Pick the one that is applicable to you. Next, you will begin inputting your personal information, starting with your date of birth. Then you will fill out the form with your account information, including your name, email, and chosen avatar. Please ensure that you have filled in all of the fields. You will not be able to move to the next page until that is complete. You will then click Next Step. Once you have completed that, you will be asked to fill in your security questions. This is for your privacy and safety so that we can verify that it is you logging in. Once you have answered the questions, you will click Next Step again, bringing you to the terms and conditions. Once you have read and accepted them, you'll be ready to use Jasperactive Digital Literacy. Happy learning!
So there you go, very quick and easy. That video is about 1.5 minutes. I believe one of my colleagues will be sharing the link to that video in the chat so that if you get lost when trying to register, you can follow the instructions there step by step. But we're going to walk through it too right now so that you can see it and see just how quick and easy it is. So the first thing you have to do is go to app.jasperactive.com and you'll be taken here. Once again, at this point, you can register with either your Google account, your Microsoft account, or your Facebook account, but I'm going to go through the full registration process as a new user. So create my Jasperactive profile. We're going to create a learner or student account. We're going to enter our date of birth here. and click sign up with email. So let's go ahead and enter in our credentials. We'll put in our name, our contact information, the username and email address that we'd like to use. Choose our language preference. You can see there's English or Spanish right now. Additional languages will be added in the future. Your country. Choose your avatar here as well. We'll go with an apple. And then this is where the students could enter in their study group code. So as the educator, if you've created a study group for them and assigned it to them, they can enter it here and they'll automatically be enrolled. But once again, this is something they can do after they've registered as well. You'll see it says it's an optional step. So we'll go to the next step. At this point, this is security questions. This is just to help you recover your password should you lose it. And then we're going to create a password and agree to the terms here, and then click next step. Now we have our end user license agreement, so I'm just going to go ahead and agree to that and click next step. So profile's been created. You saw that maybe took me about 30 seconds to 1 minute. I'll click let's get started, and now I need to log into my account. And it'll take me right in. So again, this process that I just went through is the same process that you will do in order to access your free lesson, which once again, I strongly encourage everybody here to do. You saw how quick and easy that was. So you have access to this right away. You could do it right now. You could do it after the call. You'll be able to get in here and see some of the learning. So you can see there's 2 lessons that we've included in here. There's social media and digital citizenship. So I'm going to click on social media. Now you can see we've got our study projects, so we haven't included the benchmark just yet, although I believe we are introducing some elements of the benchmark into the free lesson within a couple of days as well, so that will be there shortly. I can access the study projects right now, or if I'd like, I can go to the ebook content. So this is a sample of the ebook content that's been extracted from the lesson. In this case, it's 5 pages here, and we've included an extraction of the quick decks as well. So let's go into the study projects and take a look. So you can see here there's just a warning that basically says that because this lesson is free, we're not actually saving your results. This is something you can come into and try multiple times. The introduction here, social networks have changed the way we communicate on a personal and professional level. They will allow us to interact with people in different parts of the world, create content, share it, and spread it. People on social networks may or may not know each other, but they often share common interests. And then it gives an example of some of the different social networks that are available. I'll click continue. And now we get into the case study. So you saw what this looks like before, where most of the questions here are going to be multiple choice, but you didn't get the opportunity to see some of the video and audio content. So I'd like to share an example of that with you now. So in this question, it says not all content needs to be shared everywhere, and not all content is suitable for every social media platform. When people want to contact family or friends, they go to Facebook. Share photos, they go to Instagram. Share a video to teach somebody how to use something, they go to YouTube. Communicate with professionals, they go to LinkedIn. If you wanted to share a video to teach others how to repair wooden furniture in no more than 5 minutes, which quick clip shows the correct social media to use? So there's 3 videos here, and each of them will describe a scenario, and now we need to choose the correct one for sharing a video on how to repair wooden furniture. So let's go ahead and play this video, and I'll show you what it looks and sounds like.
Ethan has made a video on how to repair wooden furniture and can't decide which social media to upload it to. LinkedIn, he thinks. So he opens his computer, navigates to linkedin.com, and begins the upload. Now the video is on LinkedIn for all to watch, and if people like the video, they can follow him to be notified of any new posts.
So that's one of the answers. Now, if we go back and just read the content here, we can say that LinkedIn is actually used for communicating with professionals, so that may not be the best fit. So I think it would be, the learner can come and take a look at the other bullet point, obviously for YouTube at this point, and determine. I think it's more about, sharing a video to teach somebody how to do something, which is sharing this how to repair wooden furniture video. So we would go through.
Ethan has made a video on how to repair wooden furniture and can't decide which social media to upload it to. Instagram, he thinks.
And I think this
Ethan has made a video on how to repair wooden furniture and can't decide which social media site to upload it to. I'll upload it to YouTube, he thinks. So he opens his computer, navigates to YouTube, and begins the upload. Now the video is on YouTube for all to watch, and if people like his video, they can even subscribe to his channel to be notified when he uploads more.
Great, so we know that's the correct answer, so I'll choose that and click check answer. And now it gives us the success, and we continue on with our project. So this is how the video and audio content work. You can see it's extremely accessible for people of all ages, and is a great way for them to continue their learning. So that's everything I wanted to show you today for Jasperactive Digital Literacy. We had a little bit of a tight schedule, as you can see. There's lots to cover, but happy at this point to take any questions and comments from people, and just have a great engagement about this product. We're so excited to bring it to you, and so at this point, I would like to open it up for questions.
I do have one.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel that the course should be done in order, is there a way to restrict it so they cannot have that nice flexibility that you do have, but every once in a while you might not want that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So to my knowledge right now, the way it works is that as an instructor, basically you would give the guidance sort of on a level by level, right? So the study projects, as you saw, don't actually unlock until the user goes into the benchmark exam. So that's how you could help control that. You could say, we're going to do the benchmark for this, and then only that level of the study project for that lesson would unlock. I believe we are looking at building in the functionality to be able to specifically choose which lessons you want them to have access to. You saw you can also restrict it currently by application. So you could restrict somebody from not having access immediately to the lessons within Living Online, or the lessons within Computing Fundamentals, or whichever you picked. So you would have that much control, and I believe we're looking at doing it on an individual lesson basis in the future as well.
Good day, Curtis.
Yes.
Kevin, South Africa.
Hello.
I have a question. Yes, with regards to this is self-paced learning, and I would like to ask the opposite of the previous speaker. Can you offer this course in a way where your students can cherry pick which modules they would like to do? We are delivering training to government officials in the Western Cape, and we would like to make this material available in that fashion. Is that possible? And then another question, how much time is needed to complete the whole course if you would like to enroll somebody for the whole course? And then the last question is, in terms of learning management system interoperability, will this system work with a learning management system like Moodle, for instance? Is there a kind of interoperability in that you envisage for the future? Thank you very much.
Yeah, those are some great questions. So I might actually ask Luis to comment on some of them. I see he's jumping in already.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Thanks for the question. We actually have for the next 2 quarters, we actually have to integrate with Canvas and Moodle being the first LMSs that we're going to integrate with. So we're going to have interoperability as well. In terms of the time, I will take note of that question, and I will come back to you with a proper answer in terms of how much time does somebody needs to actually go over the full every one of the courses available in digital literacy.
I think
so
I'll comment on that.
Yeah.
Comment on that really quick, just
sure.
from my experience as well, and then I'll let you take the other question as well.
Thank you.
So of course, just due to the nature of this program, people are coming in with a varying degree of skill sets, right? Because it's all about the foundational skills. You may have some that know 50% of this already and some that know none of it. So it's difficult to identify an exact time frame recommendation, but I would say, and Luis, feel free to correct me if I'm incorrect on this, but I would say that if you had somebody coming in who was very green, did not have any technology skills, I would say you probably would want to allow somewhere of, let's say, 15 hours for each module. It would be my guess, if they were to go through every piece of it. Anyone else who wants to contribute to that? I know, Vanessa, you've popped on as well. You might want to comment.
Yeah, I think, it's a difficult question to answer based on what you've just said. You have learners with no knowledge and you have learners with lots. Also, as you go through the program, you can choose as the learner to look at every quick clip if you wish. Or you can do a process of elimination. So it depends on the way you learn as to how much content you're actually consuming. When we first developed our IC3 program a few years ago, we said somewhere between 40 to 60 hours for the whole thing. So you said 15 per module, which is 45 for the whole thing. So I would say between 40 to 60 hours, depending on the level that you're going in with regards to the competencies that you already hold.
That's great. Thank you. And I think there was another part of that question. I think, Luis, you were going to answer as well.
Actually, I think the other part that I heard was with regards to the gentleman from the Western Cape, was with regards to offering it in a self-paced environment. And could learners then go in and choose and decide to choose any and all parts of it? And the answer is absolutely. It was developed to be delivered in a self-paced environment and also lends itself quite nicely to an instructor-facilitated environment too. But it does give that flexibility of being able to go in and do any of the components. The only restriction is before any learning starts, the learner has to do the benchmark. That's the restriction really, and that just gives them that baseline. But after that, they can go and do any or all of the components.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great questions. Anybody else? There's a question about the timer here. Can it be turned off? And is there a possible read aloud option for content for differing abilities? So I think I'll probably let Luis comment on that, but I did want to just add a piece to it, and that is that Jasperactive Digital Literacy is an evolving product. So there will constantly be additions, new features introduced into the product in the coming weeks and coming months. We very much value feedback from our customers at CCI, and you can see that reflected in our Jasperactive Microsoft Office product, because every time we receive feedback from instructors, we take that into consideration and often add new features. So I suspect that Luis's answer will be that is something we're considering, but I'll let him chime in.
Hey, Curtis.
That is something we're considering for sure.
Hey, Curtis, I'm going to put in the chat our product team feedback email address so clients can email any comments or system enhancement recommendations so that our product team can prioritize those and look at those for future improvements. I'm going to put that in the chat.
Thank you. Okay, everyone, I think looks like we've answered all the questions. So there were some great ones today. I appreciate everyone taking the time to be here. I hope you found this informative and I hope you found it beneficial. We're really excited about this product, if you can't tell, and can't wait for you to get your hands on it. So please do go ahead and check out the free lesson. Let us know what you think. And thanks again for your time, everyone.